Pornography is more accessible today than at any other time in human history. With just a few taps on a phone, anyone can instantly access endless explicit content. For many people, it seems harmless, something private, normal, and even expected in modern culture. But here's the important question that very few people stop to ask. What is porn actually doing to your brain, your body, and your relationships over time? The conversation around pornography is often filled with opinions, shame, or denial, but rarely with clear, science-based explanations. And the truth is, when we look at the research on the brain, dopamine, and human behavior, we begin to see that excessive porn consumption can have effects that many people simply don't recognize until they're already experiencing them. Today, we're going to break down the hidden side effects of pornography that most people ignore, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of understanding, education, and science. What if something you do every day is quietly reshaping the way your brain experiences pleasure, motivation, and focus, and you don't even realize it? Your brain is the control center of everything in your life. Every decision you make, every habit you build, every goal you chase is guided by complex networks inside your brain. And one of the most powerful systems inside it is the asterisk reward system asterisk, which is strongly influenced by a chemical messenger called dopamine. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical, but its role is actually much deeper than that. Dopamine is what drives you to pursue rewards. It's the signal that pushes you to work hard, achieve goals, build relationships, and seek experiences that make life meaningful. Now imagine what happens when the brain is repeatedly exposed to extremely intense stimulation. Digital content today is designed to capture attention instantly. When the brain encounters highly stimulating material, it can release large bursts of dopamine. At first, this feels exciting and rewarding. The brain interprets it as something valuable, something worth repeating. But here, the surprising part that many people don't think about. The brain is constantly trying to maintain balance. When it is repeatedly exposed to very strong dopamine spikes, it may begin to adjust itself in order to protect that balance. Over time, the brain may reduce its sensitivity to those signals. This process is often referred to as desensitization, When desensitization occurs, the same level of stimulation that once felt exciting may no longer produce the same response. The brain starts requiring more stimulation to reach the same feeling of reward. And this is where things become interesting. Activities that naturally release moderate levels of dopamine, things like exercise, social interaction, learning new skills, or achieving personal goals, can begin to feel less stimulating in comparison to intense digital experiences. Suddenly, tasks that once felt motivating may feel harder to start. Focus may become more difficult. The brain becomes more attracted to quick and powerful sources of stimulation rather than slower, meaningful rewards. Think about how often people pick up their phone without even thinking, how quickly attention shifts from one source of stimulation to another. This isn't just about willpower, it's about how the brain adapts to repeated patterns. The brain is incredibly powerful, but it is also incredibly adaptable. Neuroscientists call this ability neuroplasticity, which means the brain can physically change and reorganize itself based on repeated behaviors and experiences. Every habit you repeat strengthens certain neural pathways. The more often a behavior is repeated, the more the brain begins to treat it as the default pattern. This means that what you repeatedly consume, whether it's information, entertainment, or stimulation, can shape the way your brain processes reward and attention over time. But here is the empowering truth. Because the brain is adaptable, it is also capable of rebalancing itself when habits change. When people become more intentional about what they expose their brain to, they often begin to notice improvements in focus, motivation, and emotional balance. Your brain responds to the environment you create for it. The question becomes, Are you feeding your brain experiences that strengthen your focus, discipline, and motivation, or experiences that slowly train it to chase short bursts of stimulation? The answer to that question can quietly shape the direction of your life. Have you ever told yourself, just this once, only to realize that the same behavior keeps repeating again and again? That moment when you notice a habit happening almost automatically can feel frustrating. You may wonder why certain behaviors seem so difficult to control, even when you know they might not be helping you in the long run. The truth is, habits are incredibly powerful. They operate quietly in the background of our lives, guiding many of our daily decisions without us even realizing it. In fact, a large portion of what we do every day is not the result of conscious decision-making. It's the result of repeated patterns that the brain has learned over time. Think about how you brush your teeth, check your phone, or scroll through content. You don't stop to analyze each step. Your brain simply follows the pattern it has practiced before. That's exactly how habits work. The brain is designed to save energy. Instead of forcing you to think through every action from scratch, it creates shortcuts called *** habit loops ***. These loops typically involve three parts: a trigger, a behavior, and a reward. First, something triggers the habit. It could be boredom, stress, curiosity, or even just being alone with your phone. Then comes the behavior itself, the action you've learned to repeat when that trigger appears. Finally, the brain experiences a reward, usually in the form of pleasure, distraction, or relief. Once this loop repeats enough times, the brain begins to treat it as the default response. This is why habits can feel automatic. But here's something important that many people overlook. If a habit was learned, it can also be **changed**. The key difference between people who feel controlled by their habits and people who take control of them is awareness. When you start noticing your triggers, you begin to understand why certain behaviors happen in the first place. Maybe the habit appears when you feel stressed after a long day. Maybe it shows up late at night when your brain is tired and looking for easy stimulation. Maybe it happens during moments of boredom when your mind is searching for something engaging. Once you identify these patterns, something powerful begins to happen. You create a space between the trigger and the behavior. That small moment of awareness is where real control begins. Instead of reacting automatically, you start making conscious choices. You begin to ask yourself a simple but powerful question: is this habit helping me become the person I want to be? Many people believe discipline means forcing yourself to stop a behavior through sheer willpower. But long-term change usually doesn't work that way. Real discipline often starts with replacing habits rather than simply trying to eliminate them. If boredom triggers a habit, you can replace it with something that still stimulates the brain but supports your growth, like learning a skill, exercising, or engaging in creative work. If stress triggers a habit, you can build healthier ways to release tension, such as movement, conversation, or relaxation techniques. Over time, the brain begins forming new habit loops. New triggers, new behaviors, new rewards. Every time you choose a healthier response, you are literally strengthening new neural pathways inside your brain. And just like old habits were built through repetition, new habits are built the same way, through consistent practice. The important thing to remember is that habits do not define you. They are simply patterns your brain has learned. And patterns can always be rewritten. What if the most powerful experiences in life, the ones that shape your happiness, your confidence, and your sense of fulfillment, aren't found on a screen at all? Human beings are biologically wired for connection. Long before technology existed, our survival depended on relationships, trust, and cooperation with others. Because of that, the human brain developed complex systems designed specifically to strengthen social bonds and emotional intimacy. When people interact face-to-face, talking, laughing, sharing experiences, the brain releases a variety of powerful chemicals such as dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. These chemicals don't just create pleasure, they reinforce feelings of trust, belonging, and emotional closeness. This is one of the reasons why real relationships can feel so meaningful. A conversation with someone you care about, a shared laugh, a supportive hug, or a moment of genuine vulnerability can activate deep emotional systems inside the brain. These experiences create memories, strengthen bonds, and build the kind of connection that contributes to long-term well-being. But here's something important to consider. Digital stimulation often works very differently. Online content is designed to capture attention quickly. It delivers rapid bursts of visual novelty and excitement that can stimulate the brain's reward system almost instantly. But unlike real human interaction, this type of stimulation typically lacks emotional depth, mutual engagement, and meaningful connection. The brain receives stimulation, but not necessarily the same level of emotional fulfillment. Over time, if someone repeatedly relies on digital experiences as a primary source of stimulation, it can gradually shift how the brain responds to real-world interactions. Activities that require patience, communication, and emotional presence may begin to feel slower or less exciting compared to instant digital stimulation. This can sometimes make real-life intimacy feel more challenging. Relationships require effort. They require listening, understanding another person's perspective, and navigating moments of vulnerability. They involve unpredictability, emotions, and shared responsibility. But they also offer something that artificial stimulation cannot replicate. They offer authentic connection. In healthy relationships, people learn to understand each other's emotions, support each other through challenges, and celebrate achievements together. These interactions activate powerful emotional networks in the brain that strengthen feelings of belonging and purpose. Research in psychology and neuroscience consistently shows that strong social connections are one of the most important predictors of long-term happiness and mental well-being. In fact, people who maintain supportive relationships tend to experience lower levels of stress, better emotional resilience, and even improved physical health. Yet in today's digital world, many individuals are spending increasing amounts of time interacting with screens rather than with people. The convenience of digital stimulation can sometimes make it easier to avoid the complexity of real relationships. Instead of navigating awkward conversations or emotional vulnerability, a person may turn toward something simpler and instantly stimulating. But over time, this can lead to an unexpected consequence. The brain may start receiving frequent stimulation without receiving the emotional nourishment that genuine connection provides. And emotional connection is not something the brain can simply replace. It requires presence. It requires shared experiences. It requires people choosing to invest time and attention in one another. When individuals begin prioritizing real-world relationships, spending time with friends, building trust with partners, engaging in meaningful conversations, they often rediscover something powerful. They rediscover that the most fulfilling experiences in life usually come from moments of authentic human connection, rather than artificial stimulation. Why do some people seem able to resist distractions, stay focused on their goals, and push through challenges, while others feel constantly pulled toward short-term pleasures? The difference often comes down to one powerful skill: discipline. Discipline is not something people are simply born with. It's a mental ability that develops over time through repeated choices. Every day, the brain faces a quiet battle between two forces: the desire for immediate comfort and the desire for long-term growth. Your brain naturally prefers the easier path. When something offers quick pleasure or instant relief from boredom or stress, the brain reacts almost automatically. This response is part of a survival system that evolved thousands of years ago. In early human history, immediate rewards, like food, safety, or shelter, were essential for survival. But in the modern world, this same system can sometimes work against us. Today, instant stimulation is everywhere. With a few taps on a screen, people can access endless entertainment, endless novelty, and endless distractions. These experiences deliver fast rewards to the brain's dopamine system, which can make them very difficult to resist. And here's the challenge. When the brain becomes used to quick rewards, it may start resisting activities that require patience and effort. Tasks like studying, exercising, building skills, working toward a career goal, or strengthening relationships often require delayed gratification. The reward comes later, not immediately. Discipline is the mental ability that allows someone to choose that delayed reward anyway. Think of discipline as a kind of *** mental training ***. Just like muscles grow stronger when they are used repeatedly, the brain's ability to resist impulses grows stronger when it is practiced over time. Each time a person chooses long-term growth instead of instant gratification, they reinforce neural pathways associated with self-control and decision-making. Neuroscience research shows that this process is closely connected to a part of the brain called the ** prefrontal cortex ***. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for planning, judgment, impulse control, and long-term thinking. It helps people evaluate consequences, stay focused on goals, and regulate emotional impulses. When someone repeatedly practices discipline, by managing distractions, controlling impulses, and staying committed to meaningful goals, the prefrontal cortex becomes more active and efficient. In other words, discipline literally strengthens the brain's ability to guide behavior. But here's something important that many people misunderstand. Discipline doesn't mean eliminating pleasure from your life. Instead, discipline means choosing when and how pleasure fits into your life rather than allowing impulses to make those decisions automatically. People with strong discipline still enjoy entertainment, relaxation, and leisure. The difference is that these activities are balanced with purpose, productivity, and personal growth. Over time, something interesting begins to happen. As the brain adapts to disciplined behavior, activities that once felt difficult, like working toward goals or developing skills, start to feel more satisfying. The brain begins releasing dopamine not only for quick stimulation, but also for progress, achievement, and mastery. This shift is powerful. Instead of constantly chasing short bursts of pleasure, the brain learns to appreciate deeper forms of reward, improvement, accomplishment, and meaningful progress. And this transformation doesn't happen overnight. It develops gradually through small decisions repeated consistently. Every moment when a person chooses focus over distraction, growth over comfort, and long-term success over temporary pleasure becomes another step in strengthening the brain's capacity for discipline. Have you ever noticed how your energy, focus, and mood can change depending on the habits you follow every day? Some days you feel clear, motivated, and mentally sharp. Other days your mind feels foggy, your energy feels low, and even simple tasks seem harder than they should be. This isn't random. Your mental and physical health are deeply connected, and the habits you repeat daily can quietly shape how your brain and body function over time. Every behavior, sleep patterns, physical activity, diet, stress management, and even the type of stimulation you consume sends signals that influence your brain chemistry, hormone balance, and nervous system. Think of your body as a highly advanced biological system, constantly trying to maintain balance. When healthy habits are present, that system works smoothly. The brain communicates effectively with the body, hormones stay regulated, and energy levels remain stable throughout the day. But when certain habits become excessive or unhealthy, the system can slowly fall out of balance. One of the most powerful factors affecting both mental and physical health is dopamine regulation ***. Dopamine is not just involved in pleasure. It plays a major role in motivation, attention, and the ability to experience satisfaction from everyday activities. When dopamine levels are balanced, people tend to feel more focused, more driven, and more capable of pursuing meaningful goals. However, when the brain is frequently exposed to very intense stimulation, dopamine responses can become disrupted. This disruption can sometimes lead to patterns like reduced motivation, difficulty concentrating, and a greater craving for quick sources of stimulation. Instead of feeling energized by productive activities, the brain may begin searching for easier, faster rewards. Over time, this can affect both mental and emotional well-being. People may begin to feel less motivated to exercise, less interested in hobbies, or less engaged in social interaction. Energy levels may fluctuate more throughout the day, and the brain may struggle to maintain consistent focus. Physical health can also be influenced by these patterns. When someone spends long periods sitting, staying up late, or relying on stimulating digital content late at night, sleep quality can suffer. And sleep plays a critical role in nearly every system of the body. During sleep, the brain consolidates memories, repairs neural pathways, and regulates hormone levels. When sleep becomes irregular or disrupted, the brain's ability to regulate mood, focus, and stress can decline. Stress is another important factor in the connection between mental and physical health. The human body releases stress hormones like cortisol when it perceives pressure or imbalance. Short-term stress can be helpful. It keeps people alert and ready to respond to challenges. But when stress becomes chronic, it can begin affecting energy levels, immune function, and emotional stability. Healthy habits act like protective shields against this imbalance. Regular exercise improves blood flow to the brain and releases endorphins that support mood and mental clarity. Balanced nutrition provides the brain with the nutrients it needs to maintain neurotransmitter production. Quality sleep restores both mental and physical systems. Even small positive habits, like spending time outdoors, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in meaningful conversations, can have measurable effects on mental well-being. The brain and body constantly respond to the environment you create for them. When you support your health through intentional choices, you are strengthening the systems that allow you to feel energized, focused, and emotionally balanced. Every healthy habit becomes another signal telling your brain and body to operate at their highest potential. What if the small decisions you make every day are quietly shaping the person you will become 5 or 10 years from now? Most people think major life changes happen because of one big moment, a sudden breakthrough, a life-changing opportunity, or a dramatic decision that transforms everything overnight. But when researchers study personal growth, success, and long-term fulfillment, they often find something very different. The real transformation usually happens through small choices, repeated consistently over time. Every day, your brain is forming patterns. Each action you repeat strengthens certain neural pathways while weakening others. This means your habits are not just behaviors, they are instructions you are giving your brain about what kind of life to build. Think about it this way. Every decision, how you spend your time, what you focus your attention on, how you respond to stress, and what habits you reinforce, acts like a vote for the type of person you are becoming. One choice may seem small, but hundreds of those choices repeated over months and years can create dramatic differences in confidence, health, discipline, and overall life direction. Your brain is constantly adapting to what you practice most. If you repeatedly practice distraction, the brain becomes better at seeking distraction. If you repeatedly practice focus, discipline, and self-control, the brain becomes better at those skills as well. Neuroscientists call this process experience-dependent plasticity ***, meaning the brain reshapes itself based on the experiences and behaviors you repeat. This is why habits matter so much. The version of yourself that exists in the future will largely be the result of the routines you practice today. Every habit acts like a path you walk repeatedly. The more you walk that path, the clearer and easier it becomes. Now imagine two different paths. One path is built around quick stimulation, easy distractions, and habits that provide temporary comfort but little long-term growth. The other path is built around learning, physical health, discipline, meaningful relationships, and personal development. Both paths are formed through daily repetition. And over time, those paths lead to very different outcomes. The empowering part of this idea is that you don't need to change your entire life overnight. You simply need to start making slightly better choices more often than not. When you choose to read instead of endlessly scrolling, you strengthen curiosity and knowledge. When you choose physical activity, you strengthen both your body and your mental resilience. When you choose to invest time in real relationships, you strengthen emotional intelligence and connection. These small decisions may not feel dramatic in the moment, but they gradually reshape your identity. People who consistently practice growth-focused habits often notice something interesting happening over time. Their confidence increases, their focus improves, and their ability to handle challenges becomes stronger. This isn't because they suddenly became different people. It's because their repeated choices slowly train their brain to support the life they wanted to build. Your potential is not determined by a single moment or a single decision. It is shaped by the patterns you repeat every day. Each habit you reinforce becomes another step toward the person you are becoming, another layer in the foundation of your future self, and another signal to your brain about the direction you want your life to move toward.